Okay, parents, so the report that I shared with you is what we call the Student Progress Report. And the reason I like this report is that it can show the progress, how a child is doing year after year after year. This report that you're looking at, that I'm showing you, giving the example, is a student who is in first grade. And so I can see how they did when they took it in kindergarten in the fall, in the winter, and in the spring. And then I can see how they did what they took at the beginning of this school year in the fall of 2021. So, a couple of things to look at here that I want to say. It's kind of self explanatory, but make sure everyone understands. The blue column is how well your child did. So, this student has a 164 RIT score on the math test. Now, the RIT score, again, kind of like the video stated a while ago, was I like to compare it to when we're measuring the height of our children, like on the refrigerator or on the wall somewhere in our house, or like we did when we were kids. It is a score that we can use, and it doesn't matter where the child, what grade level the child is, it can show us and help us see the progress of the student over time. So, with now, again, the blue column is your child's, and the orange column is the district grade level average. So, this student was in first grade. They scored a 164 on their map for that was a RIT score, and the district average was a 158. The next column, kind of more of a yellowish type column, is for this one, it says 160 RIT score. That is a national norm. How, with all of the students that take the MAP growth test, that is the average. So this student right here is performing a little bit above the district average and a little bit above the national norm average. The last column here, this is the projection column. What we expect, or actually what MAP growth test would expect for this child, if they take it next fall and we did nothing at all, just kept things same and nothing different was done in school, and they just kept going, this is what the MAP growth test would say they are expected to meet for when they take it in the fall of 2022. Now, a few other things I want to share with you that you can look at. If you go over toward the right, you kind of see a number breakdown, and this shows how the student, again, this was a first grade student. This shows how a student did when they, in the fall, when they were in kindergarten, they had a RIT score of a 142, and then it goes all the way up to this current year of fall 2021. How they did, they have a RIT score of a 164. So they actually grew, and that's what we really want to look at when we see children as they progress. No, doesn't matter the RIT score, but we want to see that they get better each and every time. The last column, of course, is the national percentile rank. And of course, this kindergarten student in the fall, or this first grade student in the fall had a 58th percentile, and they came up to a 62 percentile when they took it in the first grade. On the bottom part, you kind of see it's kind of the goal performance. It shows how areas, that basic areas, or what I like to call categories that the test will look at. So in the math, and it will let you know how well your child did. So as we can see, this child did very well in numerical representations and relationships, but probably the teacher can see this child's going to need some help with geometry and measurement and computation, some problem solving and algebraic reasoning. This student will probably need a little bit extra help when we get to those units in the test. Also, one more thing before I let you go here. Your child's report is probably not going to look like this one. Every child looks different. So if you have a child in kindergarten got a report, well, you're probably only going to have 3 columns. Also, that's the same if your child is new to Brenham ISD. They haven't taken the MAP growth test before, so they'll only have 3 sets of columns for this first time. If you have a child, of course, in the upper grade levels, well, they're probably going to have a lot more of the colored columns that you can see and track how they did over time on the MAP growth test. So that concludes kind of a quick summary of what the student progress report looks like.